Hello viewers, welcome back to the lab. So in this video we're going to take a look at the contents of this box. So this was passed on to me a few days ago by a friend, Chris. Hi Chris, if you're watching. Basically this is some stuff that's come out of somebody's attic and they want to try and have the things inside restored to a working condition. So what I'm going to do is open this up because I've not really looked in this yet. I know what's in it, but I've not really had a look at exactly what's in it. Right, so let's open the box and see what is inside. Some of you might recognise this along there, so let's just pull out one of these. Ooh. We have an Amiga A500 Plus, somewhat yellowed and grubby. As I said, I think these have been up in somebody's attic for a considerable period of time, and oh, that's missing the floppy drive. Okay, and yeah, that's not attached. So we have one yellow Amiga. We have another yellow Amiga. Yeah, this one's in even worse state. Yeah, the space bar's missing. Looks like somebody's robbed the 5 key off the number pad to use as a space bar. Brilliant, I love it. Yeah, quite yellow this one, very grubby. Obviously seen some use. And finally we have another Amiga 500. This one looks in a lot better condition. Actually, I'm not sure. Yeah, the top is a very different colour to the bottom, so I wonder whether this had a new top put on it, and the top cover there is not the same age as the rest of it. This one seems a little bit better put together. Not quite as yellowed. Right. So we have the 3 Amigos. Right, what else is in here? Power supplies. All power supplies. And an RF cable. And we've got another bag. We have joystick. I can't remember what model that was. We have a mouse. That's always a good sign. And we've got a memory expansion, 4 30-pin SIMs, RF modulator, and we've got a floppy disk, silent service 2, disk 2. Okay, fine. We've got another RF modulator. Oh, we've got lots of stuff in this one. Let's take this out and get rid of this box. Right, what have we got in here? Oh, we've got another power supply. That is a lot heavier than the other one. Is that possibly an older one that's got a transformer in it and the other two are switch mode? Don't know. A broken wire, yeah, useful. We've got one of the... Is that one of the original mice? The mouse. Another mouse, a Logic 3-speed mouse. I certainly remember Logic from the day. Another janky cable. And we've got a floppy drive. And finally in here we've got another RF modulator. Okay, let's take a look at each of these three machines in a bit more detail and see what we're actually dealing with. So this is the first one I picked up. Top is very, very yellowed, yellow keys, very, very mucky. So let's just take the top off this. There's no screws in it, so it should just come straight off. Looks okay. A little bit damage around some of the screw posts. That's split. There's a little bit of damage there. And we've got the keyboard. That's going to need a serious clean. Right, so altogether this doesn't look too bad. I've had a quick go over it, and there is a battery in here. It has leaked, and there's a sort of patch around sort of this sort of size. I can see some green coming out of the expansion port pins. So yeah, you can see here the green fuzz. Let's got the battery just here. I said U12 seems to have suffered the worst. Sort of the green sort of stretches around here in like a circle around the battery. So that's certainly going to need some attention. Right, so let's have a look at this one. It actually seems to be that this one is a bit more put together actually, even though it's got the number 5 as the space bar. It does actually have the floppy drive in, which the other one didn't. And the case is actually screwed on, so maybe this is the one that was working. I don't know. Well, there's only one screw holding that in. So again, keyboard is going to need a massive clean. Right, so this one is sans the battery. Presumably this is an older version that doesn't have a real-time clock. And yes, looking around on the date codes of this, it does seem to be slightly earlier. This one is circa 1990 vintage, so a little bit older. Right, so let's have a look at number 3. Apologies for the audio in that section. I hadn't attached my microphone properly, so it might be a bit quiet anyway. Sorry about that. So this one is actually screwed together, just missing the floppy drive. Definitely not as yellowed as the others. So let's just whip the screws out of this. Keyboard a bit dirty, but in better looking condition than the other two. Right, so this is a 1991. Like the first one that we saw, there is a battery in it, and it actually has leaked a little bit, but what has actually happened is that it's just come detached off the board, so there's very, very little leakage. So the actual PCB is actually in much better condition than the other one. I have just grabbed one of the power supplies out of that box of stuff, and this is one of the lightweight ones, so I'm expecting a switch mode power supply in here. I'd like to just whip this open and plug it in, make sure it works, because we're going to need a working power supply to test these machines. Now I want to test this properly first, just to make sure it's not putting out any horrible voltages that's going to fry something. So I'm just going to whip the top off this, or the bottom I should say. Yeah, so we've got a switching power supply in there. It doesn't look very complicated at all, to be honest. Right, what I want to do is just check the fuse in the plug, just see what value it is. Make sure it's not a 13 amp, 3 amp, yeah, that's fine, so that can stay in there. Right, I've got this plugged in, so I'm just going to switch it on. Will it go bang? Nope. That's a good sign. Right, so let's see what we have. Nothing. Right, so we've got at least one dead power supply, so I think what I'll do, I'll call it quits there, and in part 2 we'll go through the power supplies and hopefully fix them up and get them working, ready to test the Commodores. Right, thanks for watching everybody, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.